Makeup? We're looking for makeup?
What's up?
Hey.
A little more rouge. Oh, I'm sorry, we on?
And we are live. Welcome to Stop the FOMO. And we are here, me, FOMO, with our guest, Brian of Brian's Tech Therapy. Today, we're going to wrap up the year. And I know Brian's doing scorecards for each brand. And I think that's so amazing. I'm like, I'm so lazy, Brian. I don't think I could do it like 4 or 5 videos. Why don't I do one giant roundup? It's more of a relative ranking of each model within a TV brand that I think is a good value because it blends in and segues perfectly with the holiday buying season, Black Friday, whatever it is. Today, we're going to go over that buying strategy because, we're beginning to see huge price drops. And today's video is brought to you by Whokeys. Trying to build a PC on a budget but don't know where to buy your Windows 10 software on the cheap? Whokeys to the rescue. Use my code SF20 and immediate discount. At the bottom of this order where it says code card, to the right is the product key you need to activate Windows. So copy this long number, then go to the Windows menu and click on Settings. In the Settings menu at the bottom, select Update and Security. Select Activation, then select Change Product Key, paste what you copied from Whokeys, click Next, click Activate, and you're done. You can download a copy of Windows 11 Pro with my discount code SF20 and bam. You know that Getty, he got his 100-inch Hisense U8K for $5,000. And in less than a week, he had a price adjustment to $4,000, and then just yesterday it dropped again to $3,500. He got another price adjustment. At the rate he's going, he's making money back.
He's like, yeah, I know, he's a stock market.
If you have any questions, you're on the fence about getting a TV, or you don't know why you should get a certain TV, this is the stream to ask questions, and we're going to go over it. And so we're going to jump right into it. And if you have any questions, just throw it in. If I miss it, keep on asking. Eventually, we'll get there. Oh, look at this. Okay, Brian, what are your thoughts on this year's buying season so far? Are you surprised by the prices?
Well, for you guys that don't know, there's actually a manufacturer's roadmap that these retailers cannot deviate from. So everything that you see is actually from the manufacturer. So if Best Buy is dropping their price, they're following a specific roadmap. So we always think, it's cheaper at Costco. Not necessarily. They actually are not allowed to sell if they're an authorized dealer, which is why we tell you guys, if you're going to buy off a website, FOMO, of some really, really low price, you're then forfeiting the warranty of the manufacturer that's not an authorized seller. Right, so you can take these price. Yeah, which is why when you hear, hey, this person will match this, they'll match that, it's simply because maybe they weren't quick enough changing them, FOMO. So to your point, what it shows is the manufacturers are being very nimble and they're doing things on the fly. And it's amazing watching the gamesmanship, FOMO. You see Hisense being first out of the box. That 100-inch is a bargain at $5K. For it to drop that much, now you're into like average LED prices in a way. And I think it's something you just can't beat. Yeah. Man. Unbelievable.
So, and Wolde asks, is the A90J in your spreadsheet? And this goes to how I'm setting the spreadsheet up. Thank you for that segue, Mr. Wolde. Specifically, this spreadsheet is only 2023 models. And for many reasons. One, A90J is now a 2021, 2020 model? For sure. Yep. It is not available everywhere, and the prices are all over the place. And also, it's still too expensive for what it is. I have answered this question oftentimes on Twitter and on a lot of these streams, which is, the A90J is now the same price as the A80L. Should I get it? You are now 2 generations behind in terms of processing. And the A80L, surprise, surprise, has a heatsink like the A90J, and it's brighter. And it has the XR Clear, and its audio, I hate to say it, is easily a match or better. Other than the quote-unquote Master Series moniker, there is no additional warranty. Unlike the G1, G2, G3, where you get the 5-year panel replacement warranty, you're not getting that with the A90J, right? So there is absolutely no reason to get the A90J when the A80L is available. And I think Rob Brennan, in your discussions with him, he agreed that the latest Sony's, the image quality for the same panel technology, right? They're both WOLED. The latest Sony is a better TV, right? So what would you recommend? Like A90J at a discount or A80L Black Friday?
So I understand you guys, and I know a lot of you have been asking me recently about the Z9K FOMO. That always comes up. Even the Z9J, there is a prestige with the Master Series. And if you're somebody that owns a Master Series, you're very proud of it. And I think a lot of us, especially FOMO with the A90J, we saw this with the A9G. You've admired that TV for 2 years, and maybe it was out of your reach, and then all of a sudden it's there, and you're like, wait a minute. It's almost like having the want for somebody that's just not, the love for somebody who's not there anymore, right? You can't go back. You're paying for the C2 caught up to the A90J. We saw that in person. The A80K surpassed the A90J in a way. The A80L is kind of well beyond that with the XR Clear. Now, I'm careful saying that because if you have the A90J, you're like, wait a second. No, it's a fact. But it doesn't make your TV less, but keep in mind, going back and buying something from a couple of years ago, it's just diminishing returns. And like you said with Sony, these are not backwards compatible updates in terms of processing. It's a different processor. You're definitely going to be behind. The Z9K, as I see Terry jump in, the Z9K is considered a current TV, even though there is a Z9L in Japan. I imagine that TV is not much different, FOMO. I would almost guarantee it doesn't have XR Clear. The Z9L.
And with that kickoff, let's get into this question, because I think this question goes to our first brand, Sony, because we all want to talk about Sony this year. And so I'm going to hit it off with the Sony TVs and its relative position per model with the rest of the TV world, the TV lineup within its own brand and within the context of the other brands and models. So Derek asks, FOMO, 65-inch S90C and X93L are the same. Which is the best TV overall non-gaming? So this goes to my chart. I set up the prices all 65 inches unless I say otherwise. So for example, on this Sony 85 X95L, it's 4200, but it's for the 85 inch. So I will tell you when it's not a 65 inch. And so you're saying, okay, X93L 65 inch. In this case, it's $15.99 currently in most places, Best Buy and so forth. Already you notice I don't have a green highlight. The green highlight tells you this is a very good price relative to what's out there. I'm not saying it's cheap. I'm not saying it's affordable, but I'm saying compared to the competition, you're getting the most bang for the buck at this price. And we'll get into detail what that means. But in this case, the X93L 65 inches is $15.99. The S90C, if we go down there, let's see here, S90C 65 inch is $13.99. So first of all, this $13.99, it depends where you get it. At Best Buy, it's not $13.99 yet. And I'll tell you why yet, right? So as we go to Best Buy, S90C, 65, what you're going to notice is a few things, right? First, right here, you click on it. Best Buy has a little trick. It says $15.99, but this, I'm blocking. Sorry. $15.99, but this price is not its best price. It's not the Black Friday price. Its best price would be something like this. Let's say X90L, right? If you want to know if this is Best Buy's lowest price of the season, you have to look for this little label. It says Black Friday deal right here. If it says Black Friday deal, it is unlikely to get much lower, maybe $50, but it's very close to its best price. So the Samsung at $15.99, although it's a match for the X93L, it's not quite its best price. Now let's look at the X93L. Is that its best price? So let's see here. So this is like, I'm teaching you guys on the fly how to shop and look for these prices. And the best part is you buy at Best Buy, since you have a return period until January 12th, 13th, something like that, that means that you get a price adjustment. So even though it's not its best price today, but you plan to hold on to it, let's see, the X93L 65 inch, this is its best price. So $15.99, unlikely to get lower. S90C, likely to get lower. And if you are a AAA member, go to the AAA I'll put the link below. So check the link below if you're watching this. But if you're a member, click on the Samsung site, click on the price, click on the membership, and then you ask, and I was telling Brian this, you got to ask nicely, hey, I've been a Samsung fan my whole life. I got Samsung devices. Look at my Ultra. Look at my S23, whatever it is, right? And you say, can you give me that discount you're giving everyone? And then just make up a number, right? It's like, oh, it's $15.99 on this website. I heard you can get it for me at $12.99. And they're like, $12.99? Okay, you know what? I can do $13.99. I don't know where you're getting this $12.99 number. And then you just take what they can offer. And then, this is what people forget, you beg for the extended warranty. Oh, can I get an extended warranty? Please, I'm going to hold on to this TV forever, right? And then, learn a couple Korean phrases. And then suddenly you got an extended warranty. You got the best deal. Brian, did you know that's the case?
Did you remember it was a 40-year-old version when Kevin Hart is like, I'm going to need that extended warranty for the price of about on the house. Yeah, dude, it's very smart, but I think you said it best too, FOMO. The safe time to buy is now simply because you're going to be covered for a price adjustment. Mm-hmm. So waiting, and we talked about this in the live stream, the inventory that you think is there is not there. So people had alluded that the S90C at Costco is now sold out on the website. They will not be replenishing that. So if you're on the fence, it's safe to buy. And if you want to save a couple $100, like Getty, you'll be covered in the return window. Depending where you buy it, some places have a 10-day return window. I think Target's 15. But if you're a premium guy at Best Buy, it's a month. Costco is 3 months. So yours are covered. It's safe to buy. So right now, I would say look at the chart and make your choice. Well, my TV is being delivered Monday afternoon.
Wait.
So
your TV, is this your gaming TV for
my TV
replacement? You're replacing U7K. Are you ready to share that yet? Or
no, hell no. We're gonna do that one live, baby. So next week we'll have a live. I'll have a video on it, but we'll do it live and we'll discuss why I chose it. But I think you guys will find it very interesting why I chose what I chose.
Well, the people have voted, predicting what you're going to get. So let me pull up that poll real quick. Help Brian choose the TV to get. Big TV for gaming. What TV should he choose? And so this is their response, right? Well, let's see. So here are the selection, right?
Because you played that soundbite.
Extra large. Gaming at extra large. What TV should Brian get? Help a brother out. So the number one vote is 77-inch Sony A95L. And this is because we remember what you said at the shootout. At the end, you're like, I was going to get that Q95C, but after seeing everything, I got to get the A95L. And then, it was OLED. And then you saw the 100-inch. Wait, this has got Dolby Vision gaming and 4K 120 VRR. And now it's down to 3500. Of course, the Q95C, that's always been the top of your list. That's why I included in there as the large TV gaming TV to get. And then the 83-inch A80L turns out has a heat sink. So, but it's WOLED. Maybe it doesn't have that vibrancy of the A95L.
But I think you guys will love the decision making and how I came to my conclusion, which I think is so different or the same as you guys. And I think that's the way to really look at it. And when you're making your choices, guys, we did that video, resentment. We did the one about your environment. Very, very important, other than price. I think price should be your biggest determining factor.
This is a great comment by Renee Sonse. If you get a Samsung with a AAA discount, does it come from Best Buy and does the price adjustment policy apply? So this is a great question because it's very confusing. First of all, if you buy on the Samsung website with a AAA discount, it is 100% through Samsung. However, sometimes they will work with Best Buy for you to pick it up locally at a Best Buy. So they're using Best Buy as their distribution center. And so you're thinking, wait, did I buy it from Samsung or Best Buy? You bought it at Samsung, but you selected local pickup at Best Buy because you don't trust the carriers, frankly, right, Brian? A lot of people got the S95B last year and even the S90C. There was bent panels because they felt like the carrier didn't take care of their TV. So if you have a large minivan truck or it'll fit your SUV, I suggest picking it up locally if that's offered. And the S90C 77-inch, more often than not, they offered local pickup at your local Best Buy, but Best Buy does not stand behind it. All they're doing is giving you the TV you ordered, nothing more. So you can check it out, take it home, but everything goes through Samsung.com. Now, when you buy it through AAA Samsung, AAA membership, with or without the membership actually, always ask in chat for that extended warranty, because more often than not, it doesn't matter if you're a AAA member, they'll still give it to you, especially during this Black Friday, because this is why they give it to you so freely. One, most people don't remember they have an extended warranty. Two, they were planning to replace the TV and they're thinking, oh, I'm going to get a new TV, and they didn't want an old TV returned to them. So, they're not even thinking extended warranty. It's not in the front of their mind. And so they're giving it out because they look at the warranty claims and it's so low. It's worth it as a loss leader. So definitely remember you got the extended warranty and ask for it. And sometimes it's 2 years. Some people got lucky and got 4 years. A lot of S90C buyers, because I'm checking my comments and I'm checking the order list, and I noticed that they're getting it. Some got it at $1,900. Not $19.99. They got another $100 off, and they told me it's because, well, I showed them all of my Samsung devices. I'm so excited to be in the Samsung family. And chat guy's like, all right, you're legit. Here's another $100 off, and I'll throw in an extended warranty.
Damn.
So
when
it's
you say AAA,
available. And
for
AAA, you're going to be a AAA member. Yeah. If you're not, I think you still may get something, but I don't know. It's going to be as low as a AAA membership. So if you have the AAA, and for those of you who don't know, first of all, the AAA membership is cheaper than the savings. So, just join for a brief period so you can get that AAA membership. It's the Automobile Association of America, right? AAA. I have it because none of my cars have a spare tire anymore. So you have AAA, you just call them, they come by, and then, they tow you, and that's it. No more spare tires. It's just AAA membership now for me. And another question here is, Star Rider says, I need to find out which ATSC 3.0 next-gen TVs have issues decoding DR encrypted channels over the air. TV brands including Sony, LG, and Hisense. Easy way before buying Star Rider. It is such a mess, this ATSC 3.0 thing. Yeah. All I can say is this. First, next year, LG doesn't even have ATSC 3.0 because patent violations, right? So that's out. As far as DRM, I don't even know if the TV makers thought of that. It may be up to the chip that they bought. Maybe the chip has to do it. Maybe they have to get a firmware. I honestly don't know. And for that reason, the ATSC equipment being used by the broadcasters, they may not even know to toggle it on or off. Maybe they should have left it off, they turned it on, screws everybody up. Maybe they should have turned it on and they left it off and everyone's happy. It is so early in the game, I honestly don't know. So right now, Star Rider, do not buy a TV for ATSC 3.0 just because we are so much in the wild west of the rollout. The broadcasters are not on the same page as the ATSC 3.0 equipment makers and the TV makers. I mean, I'd say this is like the early days of HDR with Dolby Vision back in 2016. It is so early. Don't be surprised if you're disappointed. If you get a TV today with ATSC 3.0 and in 3 years, it's still not usable. That's just
what's interesting is we heard this at CES where a couple people said to us that chances are they're going to have an adapter for it anyway. There'll be an ATSC adapter. So you'll have the TV, and then someone will say, oh, I just bought the adapter like a Fire Stick, and it'll just work that way. So that's not something I would definitely chase.
I have to laugh. Brad Guitar's like, no, being in AA is not enough, right? Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm like, you know what? What a great way to avoid alcoholism is to watch more TV. You know what, Brad? Maybe Samsung should work with AA, right? We will get through all of this. We're starting with Sony, and we're going to get to Brad's super chat because he is talking about Sony's, or Matt's super chat. Sorry, Matt. With no Z9L, should I buy Z9K or will next year be brighter? I enjoy watching movies. Okay, so this whole brighter, this has a lot to unpack for me. First, the improvement to the Z9K, if there is a Z9L, right? Brian and I, we don't know if there is, but if there is, it will be with XR clear, better upscaling, better blooming control, and most importantly, the image processing that relates to tone mapping must be improved. So I recommend you wait until the next 8K TV. It could end up being a Z9K identical with XR clear and updated tone mapping. And this is why. The Z9K, 2 years in a row now, the firmware did not fix this. So last year, Z9K was there. This year, it's there. After 12 months, the firmware updates did not help the Z9K's bad tone mapping above 1,000 nits. Anything below 1,000 nits looks phenomenal. Great. But above 1,000, clipped to hell. 2,000 nit content looks terrible. So this goes to the brightness. What's the point of watching super bright content if the Z9K cannot tone map it, right? Now, if it's Dolby Vision, that's fine. It'll tone map it down, but then it takes Dolby Vision down to 1,000 nits. So people are like, oh, Dolby Vision, 4,000, 10,000 nits, 12-bit processing. No. The Z9K, for what it is, up to 1,000 nits is great, but its brightness strength is in the APL. The entire TV gets a little bit brighter than everyone else, but its specular highlights are not brighter. It cannot. Any brighter and it clips. We've tested it at the shootout 2 years in a row now, and Sony knows this. I spoke to Sony like, you know what? It is what it is, right? And a lot of Sony TVs are tone mapping up to about 2,000 nits at best, which is fair because streaming content is not going to exceed 1,000 nits. Most of your movies off a Blu-ray disc, off of anything, rarely exceed 1,000 nits with a handful, right? We're talking Mad Max, maybe Aquaman, right? Maybe Pan. There are a few movies, less than 10, The Meg, Part 1 and Part 2, that will exceed 2,000 nits. So on the Z9K, they won't look great. They'll be clipped. You'll have to get it in Dolby Vision, and then it'll be brought down. So back to the Z9L. It would benefit greatly from XR clear, better tone mapping, better dimming control, less blooming. And that's why you should wait till next year. Now, if you only watch sports and you want the brightest sports possible, get the Z9K. Not a big difference. But gaming, I think, would be better on the Z9L as well. Because I suspect, this is my speculation, for a flagship, it better have a Pentonic chip. The 8K Pentonic with gaming features, right, Brian? What are your expectations, if any, for an updated Z9K?
So the Z9L is in Japan. I'm guessing it's just a Z9K. I don't think they have the XR Clear even on it. I can't confirm that. I think it's just carried over. So what I would say with the Z9K, it's one of my favorite LEDs, but the X95L has showed you Sony's direction. They don't care about brightness. They're not going to chase that anymore. I think after the A95L, they're done saying this is brighter, that's brighter. They're going to just keep refining. And the X95 is not even as bright as the X93 in some ways. They're all about giving you the best image. So I would say choose the TV you think has the best processing, even in the LED, but don't chase the peak brightness anymore because it doesn't even matter. Yeah. I think they're done. Going for a 4,000 nits on a Z9G foam with Eclipse, you're just flexing a white pattern that isn't going to help you in content. So I think they're done doing that. So, yeah. And we know Samsung, I think if anyone wants to go there, it's going to be TCL.
Agreed.
You want
and that's TV, what TCL, strangely enough, TCL has the best tone mapping of high nit content of all my TVs. Yeah. They did it as well as the G3, which is shocking. Hisense above 1,500 nits also clipped. Sony clips on everything above 1,500 nits. The TCL does very well above 2,000 nits. But again, what are you watching all day, right? Spears and Munsell. So, but it's just something that I would have to praise TCL on paying attention. They paid attention to something, but I think that's such a small performance spec that a lot of people won't realize how good that is unless they're watching something at 4,000 nits. And so getting through Sony real quick. Now, you notice $1,499 A75L. I chose that as my value TV among all the Sonys, even better than the A80L, because for that $200 difference, all you're losing is the built-in microphone on the TV and stand options, right? I guess on the A80L, your stand can be lifted and put in different widths or whatever. Yeah. And the audio.
Wide, narrow, and up. This is just wide. Like an X90.
The A80L, if you don't plan to get a soundbar, then pay a couple $100 more. You get the A80L audio is better. If you plan to get a soundbar anyway, then get the A75L. Save some money, put it towards the soundbar. Better package, image quality is identical, same processor, same panel. So the A75L is what I like because it strips out everything. And I think LG needs to do this. They need to give me a stripped out C3 or C4, right? I don't care about the audio. I just want a good gaming processor, a good panel, nothing else. And like the G3 and G2 were missing stands. I go, wait a minute, shouldn't the missing stand be in the C3? Because that's where I'm saving the money. So LG needs to figure out where its priorities are when it's pricing. But so within this list, among the OLEDs, I think this one is pretty good because, and this is why it gets the bright highlight. The XR Clear cleans up streaming, cable, sports so well. And it comes in an 65 and 55 inch, sorry. It only comes in 55 and 65 inch. If you need to go 83 or 77, you do have to go to the A80L. But it does clean up streaming content and cable sources, which a lot of people still have. This is the choice for me if that's your source. And of course, if you're afraid of burn-in or you don't have the budget, then within the Sony list, the X90L is my other value selection. $999, that's my target. Why? If you go check on Best Buy now, you're going to say, oh, it's still like $1,100, $1,200, but that's not its Black Friday deal yet, which means there's at least another $100 to go on Best Buy or on other sites. So these are the two that I think are great deals. Now, the other TVs like X93L, 4200, I already know by next year it'll be 3,000. I don't like it when it's going to drop another 1,000 the following year. A95L is a flagship. It just released. It's not, now I put 3,299 and many of you are saying, wait, I see it at 3,500. Value Electronics, authorized dealer. If you buy it from Robert Zone, he gives you 5% credit towards anything in the store. So apply to the extended warranty is always my recommendation. Plus, if you're outside the state of New York, he'll pay the sales tax. Together, that drops it to below $32.99. So this is one reason why I recommend Robert, because he's able to do those deals. And of course, he'll price match anyone. So that's something to think about as well. Now, among the Sony models, what's your favorite, Brian?
So A80L and A75, I'll say what I like about the A75, and this is where I think you were going with Sony, or I'm sorry, with LG. LG C series, once it gets lower, it's just basically a C2. There's nothing that separates them. What I like about the A75 is it's saying, hey, look, we still have XR Clear on it. And even the reduced audio, it still works in their ecosystem. So if you wanted to buy it, its audio is not quite as good, but it still would work with an HT-A9 or a Soundbar. So all you're really losing is a little bit less audio. The build quality is not quite as good because you have the different stand options, but you don't lose anything in terms of picture quality. The X90L is an entry full array local dimming. It's not really a mini LED. So to me, the A75 is the best bang for the buck because then you get the contrast ratio, the micro contrast with XR.
Yes.
And you can't beat that. There's no 60 hertz panel. Like, I remember the B series would be 60 or whatever. There's none of that nonsense. So to me, like you said in our video, they really do fill all the gaps, but I would definitely look at the A75. And the X90, I think, is very good. As you've mentioned, it's affordable now. I think when it launched, the 65 was very expensive.
And for those of you who can wait, so this is its first year of release. It's a 2023 model. We're still in 2023. Sony's best discounts are always the following year. Unlike Samsung, where in the same year, you're still going to get the best discount, right? Sony, wait until Prime Day, this A75L is going to drop to probably $11.99 or less. So if it's something that you can wait, your TV isn't broken, and you are eyeing either the A80L or A75L, definitely wait until, I'd say, early summer next year. You're going to get a big chunk off of these prices right now. Had my A90J side by side with my 77-inch S90C. Near identical and accurate modes. No processing advantage at all. If anything, the Samsung was sharper, more detailed. And this is why Brian and I were telling you that, go with the latest TV. Because every TV, from TCL to Hisense to Samsung, Sony, after 2 years, they all catch up in processing and everything. So as good as the A90J was, it was the king of TVs, 2020? Oh, yeah. Now we're in 2023. The S90C, a better TV because QD OLED, it's got its own advantages. And this year, its upscaling and its image processing still falls short of the G3 and the A95L and the A80L. And yet, it still looks better than the A90J.
Yeah.
So if you have an A90J, don't beat yourself up. Hold on to it. But if you're shopping now, and you know, what do you think about W's comment? Do you agree with that?
But I love that because what you're saying is an A90J Master Series, an S90C has caught up to it. So that gives praise to the A90J, but also the S90C is behind the G3 and the new current Sony TVs. So it shows you how they catch up and surpass. We knew that LG caught Sony last year, at least and now they're further behind again. So that's where Sony's really honing it. And that's where you want to spend your money. It's a QD OLED. In certain content, it will look different than the A90J, especially if you get out of those accurate modes.
And so back to Samsung. So here we are. This is my choice for Samsung's best value. So we'll go from top to bottom, right? So the S95C, I do like it overall. However, because One Connect box demands such a premium, and it's not just the S95C, it's any TV with a One Connect box is always going to be so much more expensive because it does cost a lot to separate the two parts, right? The IO in one box, that cable and the TV the other. And that convenience, man, it's like a 20%, 25% price premium. To me, not worth it. Now, if it's worth it, it's because, you know, designers, you're putting your house in a certain way. It's not image quality anymore. It's the One Connect box. So for those of you buying the best TV for image quality, don't get the S95C. Get the S90C, 77-inch, $19.99 at the Samsung website, AAA. We talked about it. Right now, I know it's like $24.99 at Best Buy, but even then, it's not the Black Friday special pricing yet. So let's see, Samsung S90C.
Well, also the One Connect box is really a whole separate component.
Yeah,
just in plastic costs another $100 because it really feels like a little PlayStation almost. The stand is different. It's all different. I don't like it because there's another way for it to fail.
There is definitely room for it to drop in price. As you can see, it's still $24.99, but it's not Black Friday pricing. So I predict Best Buy's Black Friday is probably more like $22.99, not quite $2,000, but it will get there. And if you get it now, again, you will get a price adjustment by January 13, 12 to 13 is the return period, extended holiday returns. So go ahead. If you plan to get this TV anyway, get it now. If it ever goes down between now and January 10th, 12th, 13th, something like that, call Best Buy. They'll give you the price adjustment. No problem. I like it because if you're a Best Buy Total member, they will install it, mount it for free. So here we go. Oh, extended return period through January 13th. It says it right here. So, yeah.
It's funny. Where is the S90 cannibalizing their other value TVs from?
It is. Look at what it's doing to the rest of their line. I mean, you bring up a good point. So the 77-inch. Now everything else is 65 inches. Well, except for the 83 inches, $33.99. But look, it's why would you get the S89C, Brian? W OLED, right? This is very similar to the 83 inch.
What the hell's the S89C?
It's the W OLED. It's 2100.
They rounded up.
And I'm just thinking, who in their right mind? And you know, and this is the part that upsets me. Samsung is selling two TVs, both OLED, for the same size. This one is so clearly a better TV in so many ways. Not to mention, this is Samsung's first, the S89C, first W OLED attempt. So who knows what it's going to be like, right?
So lazy.
And so my only comment is, this is not special unless it's under $1,700. I mean, unless it's really inexpensive. And this is it, right? Call Samsung and say, look, I know the 77-inch is crap. Formo said so. You got to sell it to me for $1,700. Otherwise, I'm just going to get your
marketing, though. Who the hell in marketing is like, it's a 90C. 89. Make it an 89. Okay.
And okay, so that's the other insult. 89 is less than 90. So it's a lower number and it costs more. It's like
89.
Oh.
But I guess my question, the reason, so why I think it's interesting is that you and I were talking about this when we review the report card for Samsung, is typically you have your 85, you have your 90, your 85, your 95, and then the 7s and the 6s are the really affordable TVs. We haven't paid attention to those in the last couple of years because the quality drops way down. Now the S90C makes it where those aren't even on our radar. We don't even talk about those anymore. The Q7s or the Q6s, they still make those?
Well, let's talk about it. It's on my list, right? So the top section are my my OLEDs, right? So this is the best value. If you are in this price range and you can fit a 77-inch, and this applies to all OLEDs, by the way, whether it's a Sony, LG, $19.99 for a 77-inch is the recommended price for a really good OLED. I mean, it's so hard to compete with this price. And so even at the smaller sizes, it's not as price competitive, but it's still a pretty good price. And $33.99 is also a good price for an 83-inch because the LG 83-inch is $39.99 still. It needs to be a lot lower, right? So, but what I have here is the Q80C, and this is what I'm talking about, the price war. Look at this, $5,000 now. So we know that when Hisense released its U8K 100-inch, like Monday, Tuesday, it was $5,000. So Samsung saw that, they made their adjustment, but they're already 2 drops behind. So maybe next week we'll see this drop further. So Samsung's trying to keep up. Its Q80C is not mini LED, but at that size, if you trust Samsung more, you want it. And I believe its gaming features are better baked than Hisense. If you want a gaming TV at 98-inch, I'd suggest starting with the Q80C because it is HDR10 plus gaming. If you want to try your PC gaming on it, I know there's only one title right now with HDR10 plus gaming that's First Descendant, and you have to have an NVIDIA graphics card, 1600 and above, or you enjoy its Motion Plus gaming, or just Samsung has spent the most time perfecting its gaming features on an LCD TV more than any other TV maker, more than LG, more than Sony. Their LCD TVs are easily the best dollar for dollar for gaming if it's LCD TVs we're talking about, right? So the Q80C would be an immersive HDR gaming TV. It's got full rear local dimming zones, barely, but it's got it. And
what is it? Is it VA or is it ADS? What is it?
At the 98-inch size, I don't know. It's the
I would
same
hate to
98-inch. It's probably the same 98-inch technology that TCL is using. So
I got to tell you guys, even seeing the Q190A at 98, if it doesn't look good, it's just going to be a big, ugly TV.
Yeah,
it's hard to recommend them because if they have gray blacks, they will not look better at 98 inches.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend anything under the 85.
And speaking of 85, so this is the first time I'm recommending a Samsung 85-inch $800 TV because Hisense and TCL at this price, I believe, is actually not as good. I was like, wait a minute, how does Samsung is pulling the TCL on Hisense? I'm like, so at 85 inches, $800, the TCL and the Hisense is actually more expensive. So if you're okay with, this is just direct lit, edge lit, and the TCL and the Hisense are the same, then the CU7000, just raving reviews. Everyone loves it for what it is. Basic TV, right? We're not talking high-end gaming, but if you want a basic TV, and that would be either the S4, S5, or whatever 4 series that was on the TCL, or the Hisense A6, start with CU7000. It's the only one at 85-inch at $800. It is a good deal for a standard TV price, and that's at Best Buy or at the Samsung website as well. So
hard to recommend a TV like that, though, at that sice.
But $800, my friend. It's almost free, Brian.
Oh, it says right there, no HDR.
It's 100 cups of coffee.
God. I mean, just saying, like, guys, size always wins if the TV is of high quality. It does not work if TV is of low quality. I'm saying this, and I love big TVs, but you will have a big image that doesn't look great. You need local dimming.
And see, Brian, this is why you're always accused of being a TV snob.
I'm never accused of such thing. Look, I have a Hisense right back there. It's $700.
Wait, even your Hisense is a good Hisense. I love it.
Yeah, you guys are going to miss the Hisense back there. Everybody loves the Hisense from 16 feet away.
I love the Hisense, man. Eric Ramirez, thank you for the super chat, is sharing. I got a further price reduction on my 77-inch S90C through chat due to a $200 off promo code received through an email after my purchase and still within the return period. So once you buy the TV at Samsung, whether it's AAA or not, and you get another email saying, guess what? The TV is now, whatever, $500 less, $200 less. Take that coupon, call them. Hey, I just bought this TV. How about it? And they're like, done. And the reason is it's within the return period. They'd rather give you that discount than have you return it and then buy it again because you essentially could do that, right? So that's why. So yeah, good call, Eric. Thank you for that bit of advice. Definitely do that if you guys just got a Samsung TV and then a coupon. Or even if you don't get a coupon, check the price on the website. If it's lower and you're within the return period, call them, raise bloody hell. Now let's talk about LG. So LG is pretty easy. I'm not including any of LG's LCD TVs because they didn't try, right? I mean, if they're not going to try, I'm not going to try. And this is so important. When a TV maker actually puts effort into the TVs they're selling, whether it's price, competitive, or performance, it makes the list. Hisense, TCL, Sony, Samsung, you can see the effort. They mailed it in for all their LCD TVs. Nothing has changed in the last few years. QNED. But if you are an LG fan, and I respect that, these are the best deals right here.
Well, with LG too, though, FOMO, think about it. LG, the cost of OLEDs is higher than it was when they were making 15 grand for 77. They're more expensive to make than they were. They didn't get cheaper to make. They're not more efficient in that regard. So they're just losing money, and there's competition now. So when they were beating everybody year after year, there was no other OLEDs. They were the only game in town. They just did not adapt fast enough. And Samsung will win just by being a Samsung. Samsung, as FOMO said, we'll sell those 83-inch Samsungs just because they're Samsungs.
And
they have faith in that brand.
So you bring up Samsung and their OLEDs, right? So look. Here you have the least expensive see-through 83-inch, and I'm being very aggressive at $38.99, right? Best Buy, maybe their Black Friday will drop this low, but Samsung's already at $3,500 without any further discounts on Best Buy. It's like, how does the C3 compete with that? LG needs to respond. So for me, the value is actually in the B3. I believe the B3 performance is very similar to the C1, the C10, right? At this point, the B3 is there at a 77-inch size. It's a pretty good deal if you want to stick with LG. Now, it only has two.
It's got the weaker processor, though.
Yeah, it's last year's processor, but then some people said last year's processor was better. So,
one guy said that.
One guy, Dwayne Davis.
One guy. But that also illustrates what you said about the A75 and the A80L. There's no compromise. But guys, these prices are, the Vizio P series was $4,000.
The C8, that's 2008. C8, 15,000 at launch.
So C750.
I know it's expensive, but yeah. And you take inflation into consideration.
Oh my
it's
God.
Discounted. And I want to address
where's that money come from, though? Think about it. The companies are what's losing that. So it's really hard. And I think what Don is saying here, the streaming prices, it is really hard. We're getting close to cable prices now. Once you add everything up.
And so let me tell you why it's going up. And it's not Dolby Vision's fault. That's just a small bite. The reality is, so this is some context. You guys know how popular Disney Plus is, right? I mean, Disney Plus has got everything. It's got the Marvel, it's got Star Wars, it's got original content, but it's got a lot. Its library, its own library is easily the largest out there. Since it started, Brian, do you know how much money it lost? $11 billion.
Yeah.
It has not made any of that. I mean, $11 billion in losses since it started. It is so bad that the CEO is like, what do we do? Cancel streaming? There is no solution. And this is Disney Plus. Max, same problem. So why do they raise prices? It's either you raise prices or you go out of business, right? The number one rule in business, stay in business. Netflix, barely, it has a critical mass, meaning it has just enough subscribers to support its new content, to support everything, but it's a very delicate balance. The minute its subscribership starts to drop because it's raising prices too much, it's going to be where Disney Plus and Max and all of them are, which is, this is a money-losing endeavor without direct advertising. I mean, a lot of people, I don't want advertising. Guys, I don't know how much they can raise subscription, but it's not enough, honestly.
Well, now you know why
to run a business.
Now you know why the cable companies were so expensive.
Mr. Mystery. These names are great. Do you have, thank you for the super chat, do you have any insight into why LG seems to be so behind with their technology? Their monitors are quite expensive, but also using old technology. What a shame. So this is a misstep by LG. They were so far ahead in OLED, right? So before Samsung came along QD OLED, they were the it company with OLED. And, Sony processing, but LG is right there. They had MLA. So MLA was not something, you know what? I just thought of MLA. Let's implement it tomorrow. They've been sitting on MLA. They've been sitting on this for years. Then QD OLED comes in. They're like, whatever, QD OLED. It's Samsung's first year. We got a few more years. And it blew people away. And then suddenly the Sony A95K comes out same year with QD OLED, beats LG's best. And LG designed the G2 to beat the A90J. Well, it got beat by the A95K. Suddenly LG's like, oh man, I gotta bring out MLA now. They could have brought MLA out a year earlier. And then the following year, this year, they could have had MLA on the C series. Then there would be no complaints. So LG technically is not behind. Their strategic team, their product strategy team, their business team, whoever is in charge of releasing it, they screwed up, basically. They wanted to milk as much money on a low-cost TV for the margin. And look at the margins. It's insane. Look how expensive it is. Was it $2,200 for a 65-inch when it performs very similar to the S90C for $500 less, or the 77-inch on the S90C is equal to the G3 at 77-inch, and it's so much less. I mean, the prices, the 5-year warranty doesn't make up that difference. So
last year it actually worked. I mean, the C2 became our most recommended TV at the end of the year for consistency and value. That was because QD OLED maxed at 65 inches. And the A95K was very expensive being a master series. So the C2 became, having a 77, having an 83. The problem is they're reactive instead of proactive. So they really hung back, as FOMO said, a year too late. Had they done the G2 with MLA, then the C3 could have had MLA, and they would have counteracted QD OLED. Now, if they give the C4 MLA, how's it going to be on the G4? So they're going to get to where they're going to cannibalize their own lineup, and they're going to give you, like FOMO, we predicted a lesser MLA on the C series.
That's what I'm predicting. And it's in there. Okay, they have it. Will they release it? They better. And, here's
the little one should have MLA too. The big 83 should have MLA. The 42 and the 48 should have MLA, and then they'll do well. But if the S90 is, here's the problem, FOMO. If the S90 is still so cheap, MLA still doesn't help that. Because you still have a QD OLED. So the S90B or S90C, or what it'll be next year, it's still the same problem. And Samsung can afford to take the loss. LG cannot. That's where you can never beat that.
And I want to address the monitors at the end. And this is the ultimate slap in the face. Their monitors are expensive, but using old tech. Okay, how does it make sense that their TVs have Dolby Vision gaming and HGIG, but their monitors do not? And it's not just LG. LG OLED monitors do not have HGIG, nor do they have Dolby Vision gaming. Asus, MSI, Dell, all the QD OLED and WOLED monitors announced for CES and for next year, no confirmation and no expectation that they will support Dolby Vision gaming, HDR10 plus gaming, or the basic HGIG. How hard is HGIG? It is the easiest one to implement, right? Yep. No support for that. And so I'm like, wait, why would developers work so hard on HGIG if the enthusiast monitor doesn't support it? What, they're making games for just TV owners? And so there's this disconnect. I don't understand it. I love this. Opera Wind Fury, 77-inch B3 or 75-inch Hisense U8K. Which is the better choice? So the B3 is 77-inch. I think is like $17.99. Let's look it up real quick. I think so. Who knows? Maybe they dropped in price and I wasn't paying attention. So it is currently, $1,800, but this is not Black Friday pricing. So maybe it'll drop another 100. So let's say $1,700 for the B3, right? The other option was the Hisense U8K 75-inch, which I believe is also on sale. So let's check that out. The 77-inch B3 is the better image quality, just generally speaking, especially if you're in a light-controlled room. Now, the U8K will get brighter. If you're watching sports, you're in a bright room, you have a little bit of glare, and you want it to be bright enough in a high ambient light room, then you should get the U8K. And it's not because it's better image quality. It's because in a bright room, the B3 might be too dim, and that affects your experience. But in a darker room, I would get the B3. So let us know, Oprah Winfrey. If you're in a light-controlled room, it's not completely dark, but it's controlled, get the B3. But if you have windows everywhere, you might consider the U8K. But I would start with the B3. Just start with the B3. Try it out. And remember, once you go OLED, you cannot go back. So 77-inch OLED, you can only go up from here. And the good news is this. From 77-inch B3, you can get to the 77-inch S90C. So the question is, why are you not considering the 77-inch S90C? So let's go.
You just illustrated why the B is not even an option. But I love how you called the person Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah. The S90C, you can get it for $19.99 for a 77-inch. So it's like, $1 or $200 more. It's so hard. And this is why. Now, I know if you need Dolby Vision, okay, got it. We're not going to talk about why you should or shouldn't have Dolby Vision at this point. But I understand if that's why you need it. Otherwise, I would recommend the S90C. I got a G1 in the bedroom. Now for my living room, G3 or A80L. 65-inch is big enough for now. So if he's not a gamer, I say A80. If you're not a gamer, I say A80L. Even if you are a gamer, I would still say A80L. Brian?
Yeah, A80L is a sleeper, baby. It's a sleeper. The XR Clear is the truth. So I would say A80L. And I love the G3, but the G3 again has diminished slightly, just with the fact that it's just you got to buy a stand for it. I don't love the design of the G3. I like regular OLED designs more. So.
And for me, Dennis, two reasons.
Reign the king of Sony.
You're not complaining about the G1 being too dim, right? If you complain the G1 was too dim, I would direct you to the G3 because that TV is literally the brightest OLED you can get and arguably brighter than many mini LED TVs. But you didn't complain it was dim. That means the A80L is bright enough because the A80L is easily as bright, if not brighter than the G1. But its image processing is better, in my opinion, than the G3 in terms of motion and the XR Clear and all of that great stuff. And the audio on the A80L puts the G3 to shame. So if you're not planning to get a soundbar, the A80L is definitely the better TV, given the price, given the audio, given that you're happy with the G1. A80L is a little bit better. And now, if you need that brightness, you got windows everywhere, the G3 will beat the glare. But I'm not hearing that from you. So save some money, get the A80L, enjoy the heck out of it. Friendless in the Philippines. FOMO, should I get an A80L or S90C Costco version? You got Costco in the Philippines? A Costco version. I mostly stream Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV Max, A80L. I'm hearing streaming, and who knows what the internet's like in the Philippines, but play it safe. If you don't need it for gaming, right? I don't see you mention game or anything like that. I don't watch any sports, but the A80L for streaming is amazing. I like the A80L for exactly what you have. And the audio is better than the S90C. So even the Costco version, the A80L will have that amazing audio. So what are your thoughts, Brian?
Same. And the A80, again, use case, 4K HDR, maybe the S90C, but again, upscaling with most people, including ourselves. I think somebody mentioned streaming before, FOMO. It's amazing how many of these streaming movies are 1080p again, but not all 4K. So upscaling is a factor. If you like YouTube TV and you watch that versus more of what we talked about with, again, the point is we're not watching 4K Blu-rays anymore as much anyway. Upscaling is going to become more important than ever. And I would have to then say Sony.
We have a super chat. Thank you, Melvin Rhodes. TCL 98-inch. S5 versus the XL, which was last year's 98-inch, coming from a 65-inch Panasonic Plasma. I can be happy with either. Okay, so, and I actually spoke to Brandon, be the installer. He's seen both. And let's go down to TCL. The S5 98 inch is $3,500. However, if it's the same price, the XL is actually higher quality, better image quality. Brandon really likes the XL. So when they're the same price, get the XL. It's actually built slightly better because last year it was designed to be sold as a $9,000 TV. So at $9,000, they tried to make it a little bit better, a little bit better audio, just this and that. It's just a better TV from last year, fully discounted to this year, whereas the S5 is built to a budget. $3,500 is where the S5 was designed, engineered to cost. Yeah. That's a big difference. So definitely, if they're the same price, both your image quality and I think the durability overall, parts used, the XL should be the better TV. Or if you have access to the U8K, $3,500 as well, 100 inch, it's got mini LED. Yeah. But if you're used to TCL, get the TCL. But either way, because it's such a large TV, I recommend getting an extended warranty if you are where they offer it. It's just 100 inches or 90 is so large. I don't want, if you get at Best Buy and you're on Geek Squad coverage, whether you're a total member or the extended warranty, they will come to your house for any TV larger than a 65 inch. They will lift it off the wall and take it with them. You don't have to do it yourself. And that alone for me is worth it. So yeah.
Well, for Melvin though, Melvin, honestly, that's a huge jump in size, my friend. And I don't want to rain on your parade though, but you're going from a plasma at 65 inches to a budget 98 inch. So you need to go with one with local dimming. The S5 is not an option for you. You have to find something with decent blacks because you have a plasma, my friend. If you love plasma, we always recommend OLED after. But to go from a 65 inch to a 98 inch is a massive jump in size. That image may look really bad and soft to you.
I'm going to have to take a second to say that's a good name, God's Pet Monkey. I want to move my 83-inch LG C2 to the bedroom and buy a 98-inch TV. Yes, the movement to 98 inches is happening. Would you buy this season's potential Black Friday deal or what is coming next year? If you can hold off God's Pet Monkey next year, because Samsung, Sony, Hisense, TCL, they're seeing the interest. They're seeing Hisense selling out. They're seeing Samsung dropping its price to $5,000 and people are buying it at $5,000. They will start taking it seriously. And I want it to be affordable. I want immersion. So yes.
I love how an 85-inch TV is now not big enough for you guys. I couldn't get you guys to go over 65. Now everybody's like, well, I'm going to move my man's going to move his 83-inch C2.
Thanks. You just saved me from buying the QM8 and stopped an impulse purchase. Oh, sorry. I should say, don't. TCL's like, you. What kind of influencer are you? Thank you, Robert, for the super chat. Watching movies on Netflix, and I had a Z8H upgraded to a Z9K, and both TVs, I'm not getting the movie experience. When is it a good time to upgrade to 8K? Okay.
Why are you not getting the movie? Wait.
I think it's size. Okay, so I think
what's the question? Watching movies on Netflix, I had a Z8H upgrade to Z9K, and both TVs I'm not getting the movie experience. What movie experience are you not getting? Are you not liking the TVs?
I think it's immersion. So Robert, I think there are three things that we have to address. First, movie experience to me is defined by immersion. And
I already know what you're going to do.
It's the
Can I just say what you're going to say?
How far are you sitting away, Robert, from the TV?
Hold up, FOMO. Stop what you're saying. FOMO has done this trend this year, right? He's going to recommend you go from a Master Series Z9K. You know what you need in your life? 100-inch X90L.
Wait. Let's do that.
Are you selling those from your house?
Hisense U8K.
You definitely. FOMO is in love with these big TVs now. He's like, oh, you have a monitor? You know what you need? 100-inch U8K.
That's what
this
it
guy's
is,
coming
baby.
from a Z9K.
And this is why. So let's talk about your comment. The movie experience has to be immersive. So obviously you don't want a Hisense, so that's fine. What you need to do is either sit closer or get a larger TV, because The immersion at the movie theater, 50 degrees, right? So we talked to Phil Holland, if you caught that, 50 to 60 degrees. But what does that mean in terms of seating distance? If it's an 85-inch Z9K that you have, if you're not 7 feet away or 7.5 feet, you're too far. If you're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 feet, that is not a movie experience. I mean, that's a large TV experience, right? If you want that movie experience, 50-degree viewing angle is where it's at now. Now, the 8K does remove the screen door effect a lot of people complain of when they're sitting too close. I get that. But then you have to wait for the TCL or the Hisense UX 110-inch 8K TV, currently available in China. So, Robert, if you live in China, you can get that. Otherwise, we expect it to come to the USA next year. The 110-inch size UX with a better processor, so maybe UXL, right? And keep your eye out for larger TVs or the Sony X90L, right? 98-inch. But
I knew you were going to go there. I'm telling you must have him at the house. Like, swing by, Callie. Dude, he's going to go from a Z9K to an X90L.
It's the future, right? Now, 8K. So let's talk about the second half of your question. When is it a good time to upgrade to 8K? It's never a good time to upgrade to 8K unless 8K solves the distraction. And I didn't think about this. If you have a screen door effect on the 4K because you're sitting close and you see it, maybe 8K eliminates that. Maybe. I don't know if it does. I've been told that it does.
No,
it doesn't. So then there's nothing there because upscaling 4K to 8K, it relies 100% on the upscaling processor. And there's no guarantee that the Z9K is processing that better. And I know it isn't if you look under a microscope because our authoring expert, David McKenzie, who was at the shootout, he pulled out his telescope or microscope. He says, I see artifacts. This is crap upscaling. Forget it. And boom, 8K in his eyes, dead.
Well, upscaling by definition is filling with false pixels to create the new image. So I remember when I had the 900A, 8K, a movie like 300 FOMO that had that Zack Snyder filter, the TV was literally sparkling. Like it couldn't make that grain real. So it can actually go against you because you're going to be upscaling below 8K or 4K or 1080p. It's just a lot of jumping. It's not the same as downsampling where it cleans it up. It just adds false pixels to create the image, and it's very, very rarely will it be a better image. Almost never.
And T-Bug says it so well. FOMO is influencing me, though as now I keep rationalizing, got to get bigger. And it's not me. It's actually this guy right here. It's Brian.
Yeah, but I cannot believe I'm the voice of reason.
You know what? You got to play with the big boys, right? I'm the heavyweight division. If you want to look 6 feet tall, you got to buy a 6 foot tall TV.
But whoever thought that I would be the most, if you guys saw us 2 years ago when FOMO was like, look, go 55. Now I'm the one telling everybody to hang back. FOMO was like, you know what you need? 500-inch, baby. Paint the side of your house.
I love this question from Abhinav because it's so out of the box and it's exactly the kind of question I want to address. I have a 55-inch S95B. This was the TV you and I were like, wow, this is the future QD OLED, right? I live by myself.
That best moment. It was our best moment right there. That thumbnail, I'm like this. Ah!
So I live by myself. Should I consider a 77-inch S90C, A95L, just next gen QD OLED, or wait for the Apple Vision Pro? Moving and installing a 77-inch TV sounds tough. So here's the thing, Abhinav. You already have a S95B 55-inch. Getting the S90C or A95L is not a huge upgrade, honestly. I mean, it's slightly. The huge upgrade is the size. However, if you're okay with the 55-inch size now, wait. Because two things. One, next year, the A95L will get cheaper for sure. And the 77 inches will also get cheaper. But more importantly, the Vision Pro, they will start releasing a more competitive price structure. They'll have multiple types of Vision Pros. They have the kitchen sink Vision Pro, right, with the special, these glasses. You could add special optics so that it matches your lens, and it's way overbuilt at 3500. They're going to have a 2500 version that's a bit stripped down. So if you are in contacts, doesn't matter, right? It'll be lighter, but the power of the Vision Pro will be very similar. Same great micro LED or micro OLED that they're using from Sony. But if you're solo, I think it's worth waiting for the Apple Vision Pro, mostly because you already have a 55-inch S95B. We always say wait for as long as you can because better options will always come. Got $1,400 for my first living room TV. 85-inch U7K for 13-foot placement, 75-inch X90L for 7 to 8-foot seating. I like the 75-inch X90L because if you have flexibility in seating and you're not sitting too close, 75-inch, 7 feet, way better than 85-inch at 13 feet. I'd go with that. And especially if you're coming from an older TV, the X90L is bright enough. It may not have the contrast of the QM8, but now, if you're coming from an OLED, you might have to go with the QM8, by the way, because QM8 comes very close to OLED contrast. But if you're not coming from an OLED, you're coming from LCD, especially an older one, the 75-inch X90L will blow your mind with its color and image processing out of the box. Or the 65 A80, 65-inch A80L now at 8 feet away, the 65-inch A80L, I'd rather you go with the 75-inch X90L and then upgrade to a 77-inch QD OLED when budget permits in 5 years.
Too far away.
I think that's the way to go. But let me know what kind of TV you have right now, Shravan. And, we'll talk. Nigel has a great question. I'll answer, and then we'll get to Getty's super chat on the way out. Hey, Nigel, do you think we will see any significant new tech or improvements to 2024 TVs? So, improvements, yes. New tech. MLA on the C4 will be considered new tech, but more MLA across more sizes is the improvement I see. QD OLED, I don't see it going to 83 inches, unfortunately. So it'll still be QD OLED up to 77 inch. As far as improvements, Sony, I think, is going to spread XR clear across more of its lineup. MLA on Sony OLED TV, so the A80L this year. Next year's successor will be the A80 with MLA. That could end up being another sleeper, right, Brian? But as far as big jumps, 110-inch TVs, we've never seen that before. I think those are coming. More 100-inch TVs at more price points, but I'm not hearing anything amazing like a QD OLED or MLA. Brian, predictions, anticipations. What is exciting you for 2020?
Seeing Hisense and TCL move more into that top tier now you'll see, I think, that further with volume and them with more specs. Again, I see TCL really pushing the specs next year. That's what's hard about recommending a UX from a Hisense that's a limited run. I know they're going to go with a brighter TV next year. So I expect them to have good jumps, FOMO, spec-wise, from Hisense and TCL. But that's still, in my opinion, old technology, mini LED in a way. So expect that to jump. As far as QD OLED, I think you're looking at refinement. You may see LG try to push the brightness FOMO just to sell MLA a different way. But I think you're going to see kind of a boring year next year in terms of any leaps.
For almost the same price, would you recommend the A75L or the S90C? So the S90C will be slightly brighter, slightly punchier, but the A75L will give you better upscaling and processing of streaming content. So when I say brighter, you're only going to benefit watching sports, really, like bright sports. Yeah. But if you're watching Netflix and all those things, it'll be very similar in brightness as the A75L. But the S90C will have better gaming, more vibrant. Yes. It's just, I really like gaming in the S90C. Whether it's 55, 65, or 77, it is the most vibrant, most saturated. The color pops. It gives you lots of options for different image profiles when you want to play. So S90C, if you have any kind of next-gen console, for sure. But the A75L for everyone else is just streaming, watching news, sports, and TV shows. So hopefully that answers your question.
We used to do this. We used to almost cop out. If you want a game, go with this one. If you want to watch movies, go with this one. It's funny how we're kind of back to that because the S90C is such a good gaming TV. You can watch movies on it, obviously. Same the A80L, you can game on that too. But the S90C, the gaming features plus the different presets, it really is that simple, Bri. If you want to go gaming TV, S90. If you want to do more streaming, A80L. It's really that simple. It's amazing how we're going back to that, though, isn't it?
Josh asks, switching gears from TVs, would you recommend a soundbar under $1,500? Which one would you recommend? Okay. A7000, Q990C, Nakamichi, or Sonos. For sure, the Q990C, when it's on promotion at $900, $800, get the Q990C. But at over $1,000, I get the Nakamichi for, I think they hit their Shock Wave right now at Best Buy is under $700 or around $800. That one comes with surround satellites. That Nakamichi, way to go. Sonos is great if you're in the ecosystem. You're listening to music, you have speakers all over the house, you're in the Sonos ecosystem. For music, Sonos is great. But if we're talking home theater immersion, I'd go first, if you get the deal, the flagship Q990C, but under $1,000, Nakamichi. The Sony A7000 isn't better than any of them. At best, it matches the best from Samsung, but it's too expensive. Yeah. Everything's in bits and pieces. A7000, then you got to get the SW5 subwoofer, and then you have to buy satellites separately, which is what I had to do, right? And it ended up being like $2,500. It's insane. Q990C, all in one package. Nakamichi, all in one package. Sonos, also very expensive. Soundbar, subwoofer, 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then surrounds. So I don't like the way Sonos did that either. Hopefully that answers your question. I think we are good. Okay, my friends.
I like what you said about Sonos though, because I think Sonos is such a popular option. But same thing you said, ecosystem, because I know Sonos really struggles, FOMO, with that dynamic, with the vocals sometimes, the dialogue, because it doesn't have the same home theater feel. But to your point, if you're going to buy them and go all into the entire thing, it definitely works out well.